welcome back. Yes, Mr. Walter Olatunji joins us next. He's a water resources and hydrologist with Niger Basin Authority in Niamey. He joins us from there. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on the program. Now, maybe we should start by asking you, first of all, tell us, what is the mood right now in Niamey where you are?
Okay, thank you for having me, and I want to also appreciate the pleasure extended to hear to know what is exactly happening in Niamey. Presently, I can say that the situation is calm, and everyone is going on doing his legitimate duties. So the situation is calm here.
All right, so there's this talk about back here where first of all, they think that there's an agreement between Nigeria, Niamey, over the dam, such that if power supply ceases, we'll be violating certain agreements of them not building dam, and as a result of that, they might go ahead if they're not as much that they are already. If the dam there, then we will have a challenge there. So you are right there. So tell us, what can you say about all of this going on? Is there any such agreement not to dam the dam there such that it doesn't affect us, Nigeria, being at the downstream, almost a little above on the upstream?
Well, this is a very tough question. I think that should be maybe addressed to the high hierarchy in Nigeria, maybe the office of the president or the office of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. But technically speaking, I can say that we have not seen those kind of agreements in Niger Basin Authority that Niger should not construct their own dam. And I can tell you, it is in a public domain that the government of Niger has embarked on their own dam since 2008. So I don't think, maybe I have not seen such document, but I have not seen, I can say I have not seen such document, but I can confirm that the government of Niger is constructing their own dam since 2008.
Is it possible that they will go ahead and construct their dam without all those other 9 countries who have to do with Niger Basin Authority, without any one of them knowing or signing off on that, including Nigeria? Are you still there, Mr. Olatunji? Okay, I think his network is a bit frozen, so we'll see how we can reestablish that connection and ensure that we get him back.
I can hear you now.
Okay, go ahead. I did ask you, is it possible for Niger Republic to go ahead constructing their dam without any of those 9 countries who have to do with Niger Basin Authority knowing and signing off on it, including Nigeria?
No, it's not possible, because the policy and the system of organizational framework at Niger Basin Authority, who is a custodian to manage the Niger River water resources and the associated ecosystem, make it mandatory for every members of the country that propose any hydraulic program or project on the course of River Niger. So it's not possible that members' country will not be aware or approve such construction. So member countries are aware. They are aware of the construction.
In our own case now, who or what agency, because I think they say there's supposed to be a focal authority in all of those countries. In our own case, which agency will that be that might have known about this?
Yeah, in Nigeria, the focal structure is the Federal Ministry of Water Resources.
All right.
Yeah.
I do know that when my colleague Chamberlain asked you earlier, how things were, you said everybody is going about their business as best they can. But I'd like to know, electricity is a very vital part of daily living now for many countries. So How has it been like since Nigeria cut power to Niger?
Yeah, sincerely, it has been not easy because we are not used to the kind of the epileptic supply. But for someone like me coming from Nigeria, I don't see much difference. Just 3 hours on, 3 hours off. So we can just program your schedule and work in that line. For those working in the office, we have a generator that once the grid is disconnected, we put on the generator. So I can say that concerning me in Niamey that the impact is not too much here.
That's interesting. 3 hours on, 3. So they alternated every 3 hours throughout the day?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. But, what conversations are people asking the government to dialogue with ECOWAS, because I'm sure that they too are not used to this and they will wish that the situation could go back to normal. I mean, there certainly will be some disruptive elements, as a result of that. Are you listening to conversations anywhere? Are citizens asking, leaders to talk to ECOWAS perhaps?
Yeah, I'm just like you. Or don't let me say I'm like you, because we are feeding from what you guys are putting in the media. So when we are sure that everything will be okay, we have that assurance that there will be necessary to send in military to resolve the issue. That is just what I think.
As a hydrologist, do you have any concerns about the current state of the river Niger? Do you have any fears about how that particular resource is being managed? And we know that that's a free resource that's been given to us by God. But do you have any concerns about how we're currently managing that particular resource?
Yeah. I can tell you that one of the function of Niger Basin Authority is to issue what we call flood warning or alerts, and drought is some area that are experiencing low water level. And we have a system in Niger Basin Authority that make this possible. And we issue all these warnings forecast to members countries for impending disaster or kind of problem coming as a result of rainfall or maybe too much of a release of water from the dams. So we normally do this frequently, and I can say that members countries need to kind of put in more attention to all this warning and make a preparation to make life better for those living around those areas. It shouldn't be when the disaster happens.
Oh dear, it looks like we've lost him briefly now, but we're just about getting to the very interesting part. So don't forget that we're currently in the peak of the rain. Maybe we've not gotten to the peak yet, but at least we're right smack in the middle of the rainy season. At the beginning of the program, I didn't tell you that it was rains throughout the weekend here in Abuja, and we also saw how the floods wreaked havoc on many farmlands in parts of Nigeria last year. So you were making a point. I understand you can hear us now. You're making a point. We saw how, flood waters wreaked havoc in many parts of Nigeria last year, all of them flowing from the river Niger. Well, the Benue, we have a deal with the Cameroonian government and the Lagdo Dam they built right there. You were speaking about concerns and flood warnings. So are you saying that in the past, these flood warnings have been neglected to the detriment of citizens?
Okay, well, I won't specify that there is a neglection, but I can see, what I can say is that maybe we need to do more in terms of planning, in terms of resources to make sure people are secured. For example, people living in the floodplain area, they can have alternative space to move to even before the occurrence of the flood. So it's like we need to have a specific arrangement for these issues. We are living with it, and we have to accept that fact that we're going to be living with this situation. And what are the measures to reduce the impacts or to reduce the negative impact on the people in those areas? So those are the things I'm talking about. There should be a specific or dedicated arrangement from the side of the government for people to move to a safe area even before the flood happens.
So
we need to...
Sorry to jump in there. We've seen images of the deposed president visiting the dam upon its construction, several activities that went on during the construction, which, by the way, is still ongoing. So could you then tell us, this dam that is being constructed in Niamey, what impact is it likely to have on Nigeria?
That is a very good question, and it has been a very strong debate between Nigeria and Niger. And I can say from the studies that has been done, when the idea of this dam came in with the feasibility studies, we have that report that about 10% reduction of flow will happen in the downstream, that is Nigeria. When I'm talking about the downstream, I'm talking about the inflow of water from Niger. You know, the water move flow from Guinea to Mali, from Mali to Niger, from Niger to Nigeria, and from Nigeria to Atlantic Ocean. So that is the flow of the River Niger. So if you have a country little bit upstream, we normally have that kind of notion that it's not good for the upstream to have a barrage, to have a dam, because it will disturb the flow of water and also the natural environment. But if you have a very good studies that look at the total water that is going to be abstracted and look at the current use of water at the downstream, if there won't be much impact, definitely the project can go ahead. So what we have earlier, as far back as early 2000, is that there will be 10% reduction in flow to Kanji and Jeba Dam. But of recent, another study was carried out that says that it will be just 2.3%, which is minimal. So we are expecting a reduction in flow, but it will not have hamper or impact on our production capacity in Kanji and Jeba.
So was there ever any time where the conversation came up that Niger should actually construct the dam and that it will benefit Nigeria, thereby probably we also stop the electricity supply and divert it to the country for our own perhaps benefits?
Yeah, I can. The way you had it, I also hear it that something like that happened. You know, when you have a conversation and it's not a kind of written down for people to see, or maybe it is somewhere written that is kept exclusively for a particular hierarchy. So for our own level, I have not seen such a documented agreement, but verbally we are behind that. So I can say that even if that is the agreement, that in 2008, Niger commenced their dam. And even before the early 90s, they have started the issue of looking for source of funding. So if that arrangement was in place and Niger started as early as late 2000 or early 2000 to construct their dam. So what are we talking about?
Well,
I don't think you understand what I said.
Yes, yeah. At the moment, Niger owes Nigeria a lot of money for electricity supply. But at the end of the day, just hypothesis now, if Nigeria were to restore the power supply to Niger Republic, what impact is it going to have, given that this dam is ongoing? When it's over and done with, will there still be a need for Nigeria to keep supplying electricity to Niger from your perspective? What do you think?
Okay, I will say this from my own understanding that earlier on, Nigeria should have supported and encouraged Niger to have their own dam, instead of maybe having a verbal agreement that we are going to have the dam downstream, you don't construct, we give you the light when we finish. And when we finish, truly, we give them the light. But afterward, we are supposed to think outside the box that can we sustain this? Because we have a population that is growing in Nigeria. We have people that are working more dependent on the power supply. So I can say that this is what we're supposed to have done long time ago, to have encouraged and support Niger to have this dam. That is one. Then number two now, if light is restored fully back to Niger, it's going to be as normal as the way we are before. So I don't see any impact on the side of Niger, rather than Nigeria, that is not having enough power supply as when due. So Niger will continue to have their 24-hour power supply until they finish their own dam, and afterward they can tell Nigeria, thank you for what you have done. We have our own dam and we can generate our power supply.
All right, Mr. Walter Olatunji, hydrologist with Niger Basin Authority in Niamey. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some feedback that came through from you. This one comes from Abiro Kenneth. It is an email, and he's talking about the Nigerian coup. Sometimes if you don't look well, you think it's Nigeria. While I support the calls for the return to democracy in the Republic of Niger, I have a question. And that is, when will the allegations made by the coup plotters about the exploitation of the country's mineral resources, such as uranium, by foreign nationals be discussed? The country is rich, the people are poor. Enough of that.
Well, you also see this tweet here from Politica says, I'm beginning to think about this fuel subsidy now. How much is the landing cost of petrol per litre in Naira? NNPC should come out and tell us the truth.
You didn't think about it before, Politica?
But that's a very interesting request, because it is a shareholder. If it's a Nigerian, it's a shareholder in the NNPC Limited. So it behoves on the company to give out those details. But this tweet from Olagunjo Oladile talks about, well, the economic policies, and it says, given the substantial time required to transition our economic systems, if our current trajectory does not align with rapid growth, it will become difficult to effectively address forthcoming challenges. We need to focus on accelerating our economic growth.
Perhaps speaking in the same sense, Matthew Osai says the huge corruption in the oil industry is fighting against the Naira. It's an interesting way to look at it. The federal government should turn attention towards fixing the refineries and probing the billions of dollars that have been spent on the refineries. If we produce oil locally, the Naira will appreciate and the price of petrol will surely go down.
Did I hear an amen to that?
And I say amen indeed. And that's the show today. Thank you so much for the privilege of being a part of your morning. Welcome to a new week, August 10. Is that August 10? No, that's August 14. Am I making a good morning and welcome?
Well, we have a lot of things to grapple with in this nation. We should fight corruption, fight bad leadership, but never fight ourselves, all right? I'm Kayode Okikelu.
Well, thank you for watching. Have a great week. I'm Maokwe Yusuf.
And I am Chamberlain Uso. Goodbye.